everybody, and welcome to another Sims 4 speed build. Here we have Elaara again, and this time she is a single mum to a big family. In our family we have, let's go from left to right, we have a child called Lizzie. She's cute, she's got brown hair, brown eyes, very cheeky. Next to her we have a blonde teenage girl called Alexis. Then we have Elaara herself, and in her arms she is cradling a toddler by the name of Jared, so a little boy. Also very cheeky, very curious, very independent. I can't tell you all their traits off the top of my head, so moving right along. To the right of Elaara is Chyla. And Chyla's like Elaara's mini-me, same colour hair, same colour eyes, same young build as a teenager. And then to the right of Chyla we have another child, which is James. Now Lizzie and James are twins, fraternal twins obviously, and Alexis and Chyla are also twins. And this is the family, and the house that I'm going to build for them is a house that probably a single mother who's got a decent job and earns a decent amount of money might purchase. It's not a fancy house, but it does have room for all of them. But it's a little bit plain. It's a little bit of a fixer-upper on the outside, so there's not much in the way of the yard. But I'm thinking that Elaara herself would have dressed up the inside and made it comfortable for them, even if they couldn't afford the best of the best. So here they are, even though it's spring, it's snowing, and you know, in my part of Australia, it doesn't snow ever. We get the occasional, very occasional hailstorm or hail stones that fall, not necessarily a storm. And oh gosh, I want to say about 15 or 16 years ago we had a really big hailstorm, the likes of which we've never seen, and like houses were damaged and cars were damaged, but nobody was killed, nobody froze to death, but it was very exciting because we just don't have that sort of weather. We also don't have tornadoes. We get little mini twisters that are capable of, you know, doing a bit of damage to a house or two, you know, and by doing a bit of damage I mean they rip a few tiles off the roof, or you know, pull a few trees out that might land on the sides of houses and stuff. It's not excuse me, sorry, it's not they're not huge life-destroying events at all. So our weather here is quite mild, although it is quite warm in the summertime. We get up over what we would call 40 degrees. For those of you, not what we would call, it would be 40 degrees. For those of you who count in Celsius, it's, you know, we've had 42, 43, 44 days in degrees Celsius. For those of you who count in Fahrenheit, that's kind of 108, 112, 117 kind of range. So it does get a bit warm. So here we are. It's a small block, obviously, because Elaara, being a single mum, couldn't afford a huge house on a huge block, and it's a little bit out of the way. You saw the block of land itself, the plot, was out on that island. So, and it's a fairly plain stone. Most of the houses here are built in brick, so we've gone for a grey brick. So it's very plain. It's not a pretty house. It doesn't have a lot of embellishments, but it does provide a bit of room for Elaara to do a bit of fixing up. And she's done most of the work to the inside first off. So downstairs, and here's a great tip for you guys too. If you are building those, it's the saucer light. They're relatively cheap. and you can downsize them so they're out of your way, but they provide a good, clear, um, white light for you to do your building with. And when you're, if you build without lights, which is perfectly fine, do you know what I mean? If that's what works for you, then, you know, you do you. But sometimes when you finally put your lights in, you find that colours don't match, or they're not what you thought they were. And this way lets you see all of the colours accurately of your furniture, your wall coverings, so that if you're trying to match things, you've got a better chance at doing it with a plain light. So, excuse me, sorry. I'm quite fond of myself of wood, and I like kind of a warm pine, or what we'd call a Baltic pine style furniture. So I've included that here. And you know, kind of, I was thinking about what I would have liked to have as when I was a young mother, and I would have loved to have had a chef's kitchen. And this is what this represents, is the equivalent of the chef's kitchen. And you can see in the right hand corner, one of the cupboards looks like it's a different color. It's not. It is just the light messing around. Okay, so we've got a lovely big island bench where it's there's plenty of room to work, there's plenty of room to serve, and there's also room for, you know, kids to have breakfast there if they're on the go or whatever. Now, here's a little tip for you. If you don't want to put items where the snap points are, put them on the snap point, move the surface away, and you can see I'm doing it again with the tables, and put it where you want it, and then put the tables back. It will stay at that height, or at the right height for you. And I've kind of set the table up here to look like one of those giant square tables. You can see 2 chairs on each side. It seats 8 people rather than the 6. And I know you've got an 8-seater table, but they're really long and you have to have a really big room for them. And I actually have a table in RL that is one of those big square wooden ones. And it's great because you can pull up extra chairs to the corners, and you can kind of squidge down a bit and fit more people on than it really looks like it would give you. So that's the kitchen and the dining area. It's like a warm family gathering area. People who are sitting at the table can talk to whoever's in the kitchen, and I like that. You know, in the older style houses, where all of the rooms were partitioned off, you had no no interaction. If somebody was in the kitchen cooking, and it was usually mum, she was kind of separated from what was going on with the rest of the family in the dining room, and, you know, missed conversation, you know, that kind of thing. So I really like the open plan of the more modern style houses. And this could potentially have been an older home that was that partitioned off sort of style, which has been renovated inside. I'm not sure that Elaara herself would have renovated it because, you know, she's probably too busy working, but she might have paid people to do the renovations for her. And so downstairs we have a full bathroom. With 5 children in the house, you're going to need more than 1 toilet. All right, so, and I'm talking about real life as well as sim life. And again here, you can, some things, even though they have snap points, will let you put stuff in other areas. So this is a little study area where your Sims can go, even though it's part of the main room, and they still maintain that connection. It's partitioned off so that if they choose to ignore what's going on in the rest of the room, they kind of have a little bit of privacy to do so. And again, with children and teenagers in the house, you're going to need somewhere for them to study. So we're moving on to the lounge room or living room. And you can see that the furniture is a little bit mismatched. Maybe Elaara found that chair in a second-hand store, or maybe it's called Grandma's chair. Maybe she did inherit it from her grandma. I myself inherited a couple of little salt and pepper shakers from my grandmother, and they're like twin Siamese cats, which I just adore. And I also like, for myself in real life, oh, sorry about the squeaky chair, if you didn't hear that, I'm glad. But I like potted plants inside as well. And in Australia we call them pot plants, which is different from a pot plant. We just call them pot plants. And I know in the Northern Hemisphere, that my viewers in the US, you call them potted plants. But it is what it is. Now, this front area is somewhere where they can do a little bit of skill building. I wanted to include as many of the skill items as I could, while still making it plausible for a large family to have them in their home. So just putting a few little extra touches in, and now we're getting the lights in, and you can see that colors change once you change the lights. Some go darker, some get warmer, some get a little bit colder, and that's because the different lights in the Sims emit different colors. And to change the settings, you actually have to go into live or live mode, whatever you call it. So here we are upstairs now. We've done the downstairs. We're working on our first room is for our teenagers, and they of course are going to share a room because this is not a big enough house for everybody. It's not a 6-bedroom house. It's not big enough for everybody to have their own room. So this is cute. It's not too girly because both of the teenagers, whilst obviously they're girls, they're not girly girls. They're not the type that would have pink and frilly stuff. So they've got a lot of cool posters, a lot of you can see the fashion art on the wall there, and perhaps some collectibles. I know I think Chyla would kind of collect statuettes of maybe like horses or in this case cats, and I know Alexis is a really big cat lover, so I kind of think that maybe the family, the kids might be begging Elaara to get a pet, probably a cat. Now for those of you who have never owned a cat, they're a little bit more independent. You don't have to house train them. If you provide a litter tray or access to the outdoors, they house train themselves. So here is the upstairs bathroom. It's a little bit of fun because I imagine that this is where the toddler would be bathed. And you can see there's a laundry basket here. And I do go back a little bit later and put an addition for a laundry room. And here we are in the toddler's bedroom. And again, it's a little boy, so we've decorated in blue, but it's not too blue. Do you know what I mean? It's not over the top. It's quite cute. It's quite a fun room, I think. The kids go straight to this room and start playing with the toys. So I know it's quite successful in the way of being entertaining for a child. And there's a few, bright posters or paintings on the wall. And I remember it back in my childhood, my father actually painted our bedroom wall with some murals. And we had Tom and Jerry. I don't know if you guys watch Looney Tunes cartoons at all, but Tom and Jerry are a cat and mouse thing, and Jerry had a little nephew whose name escapes me, and we had them using a giant banana as a seesaw, although I guess it's not giant if they were mice, on one wall, and then Tom the cat in another room that I can't on another wall. So here we are now in the children's bedroom, and again, they are having to share. So one side you can see has got toy soldiers. Um, that might be the little boys' side, and the other side's got a little teddy bear and some flowers for the girls' side. Even though, just because you're a girl, you don't have to like pink and flowers and pretty stuff, and if you're a boy, you don't have to like cars and soldiers and stuff like that, because we are a little bit more enlightened in this day and age. And if you are a boy and you like to play with dolls and flowers and wear pink, you do you, babe. It doesn't have any reflection on who you are as a person. It's just that for ease of identification, we tend to categorize things as being masculine or feminine based on, what they were previously. So I'm working on the master bedroom now, and you can see that the whole house is largely done in neutrals. And again, that colour theme has carried over into Elaara's bedroom. She's gone for a pastel pink and pale blue or powder blue theme, and luckily for her, she has got her own ensuite bathroom. So, and she's probably, because it's only her room, she's done it up a little bit. It's, cool blue tiles. I think blue is a nice colour for bathrooms. It lets you get a lot of stuff in white, really snow blindingly white bottles and things, and blue makes a really good foil for that. But she's also gone a little bit fancy with the mirror here and some lighting, so that she gets a full length excuse me, look at how she would look in the mirror, stuff like that. So it's quite a luxurious bathroom for a single mum to have, and just some family pictures, perhaps of holidays and things like that, in the hallways. And we've got our lights in, and we do I do shift the house over, realizing that I've put it in the center of the lot and it makes the rest of the lot a little bit unusable. You can't really put anything. So there we go. We've shifted it over to the side, and we're now putting our laundry room in, so that, because children are going to create laundry. If you don't know that already, and you ever have children, you will. So it's a small, simple laundry room. It's kind of, I would imagine that whoever renovated the house tacked it on, that it may originally have been part of the interior, as so many houses here in Australia include a separate laundry room rather than having it as part of the kitchen or in a hallway, as I've seen so many other designs. But here we are, we've shifted the plants and things over, and we put a fairly simple monkey bar for the children to play on. And don't forget your terrain painting. It makes things a little more realistic, because grass doesn't grow underneath, dense plants. And here we've got a little outdoor area where the family can sit, barbecue, and perhaps spend a little bit of time outdoors. It's not fancy. I think, again, this probably would be an area that Elaara, as a single mum, might have done for herself. And we're about to go into screenshots. So here we are, the house from the front, and you can see this has been play tested. So our family are inside. This is our little skill building area at the front. Would make an equally nice living room. Here they are watching television and checking out the computer. The dining room, and I think it feels quite warm and quite homey, and you could see the door into the laundry room there. The beautiful chef's kitchen, the upstairs hallway, not too crowded and full of family memories. Children's bedroom. I think I've gone around in a circle. The bathroom, no, not quite. and the toddler's bedroom. You can see the children have come in here to check it out, and our teenager's bedroom. And last but not least is Elaara's bedroom and her bathroom, and you can see she has a private study area. For those of you who want to recreate the build, here is the layout for you, but it is also available on the gallery to download. Upload link in the description. Wherever you are today, whatever you're doing, have a really great one.